Welcome all to yet another PTC Talks, where we are honored today by having Peter Harman, CTO at CAE Tech, for a session on using on-shape models for robotic assembly of mass customizable products. But first, just a quick introduction by me. And my name is Torbjörn Peterson, and I'm the Alliance Manager for PTC in the Nordics, and we are running all these webinars every Friday, same time. But we also invite customers and partners for some inspiration on digital transformation to see what is possible and how to make things happen. And all the past webinars have also been recorded and are to be found on the registration site. And the agenda for today is first a quick overview of PTC by myself, and then Peter will run the show by introducing himself and touch base on a few challenges and how to address these, and then explain some of the business outcomes. And at the end, we are also having a Q&A session, so please keep your questions to the end, or you may also put them in the chat and we will pick them up during the Q&A. So over to the next slide. Yeah, we are there. So just a quick overview about PTC as a company. PTC is a global software company with a headquarters in Boston, and we provide market-leading solutions on IoT, augmented reality, PLM, SLM, ALM, and CAD through the digital thread to help companies to accelerate their digital transformation. Now over to you, Peter.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'm going to talk about robotic assembly of mass customizable products. So firstly, who am I? So I'm Peter Harman. I'm the founder of a company called CAE Tech. So my background is originally in applying simulation in the automotive and Formula One industries, and then in the simulation software industry. And then 7 years ago, I founded CAE Tech, and I had set the mission of seeing what we could do to bring that simulation into the manufacturing industry. And over the last few years, we've actually then focused in on this mass customization problem. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. So what do we mean when we talk about mass customization? So the thing that excites me about this is that I believe this is at the intersection of multiple mega trends that we've got going on. So one of those is net zero. When we're manufacturing any product, we need to be minimizing our usage of materials and resources. What mass customization brings us is the ability to only actually make the things that we're going to use, not mass produce things that end up going to waste. We've got a lot going on in the world that is causing deglobalization. So supply chains are suffering in terms of shipping stuff around, changing what countries we have materials come from or things manufactured. And so actually the idea of bringing manufacturing closer to the customer is beneficial for that. And we've seen crises of supply related to that. But we're also in a world where end consumers expect choice because they're used to choice. But we can also see that they're willing to pay for choice. And so what we want to do is we want to make sure that we can manufacture the things that people actually want in the most efficient way. So a reference that I like about this particular point is this book called Transition Point by a guy called Sean Cooley. And this is looking at all the changes that we're going through in terms of another industrial revolution. But really one of the key things here is this idea that future supply chains will be personalized, automated, and local. So products will be made for people as they want, where they want them. And what we're excited by is creating the technologies that actually allow us to deliver that. So as a company, we've been doing this for a few years, and there's a range of technologies we've developed. So one of those is configurators. So actually allowing either an end customer or a reseller or someone who is not the design engineering expert actually to configure and set up a product ready for manufacturing. And a key part of what we do that's unique there is we follow the data all the way through from the real CAD data all the way through to how that product is being made. We've worked with a number of customers via working together with Onshape on this. And I'll come into some reasons later on why Onshape is such a good platform for doing this kind of work. And in terms of how things have been manufactured by those customers, we're generally generating assembly drawings. We've also generated CNC data where required. And so we can, another example, we can track the orders coming through of a mass customized product and then generate the manufacturing information and shipping labels, instructions, all the things that are needed. So for these specific use cases, this is fantastic, but how can we generalize this idea a bit more of mass customized products? How are custom products actually made? So whenever we say mass customization to people, they say to us, oh, right, so you're 3D printing things. And we have to say, well, no, actually, we're not. So the photos on the right are from real customers of ours. So there's some CNC cutting of wood there. There's CNC cutting of steel for shipbuilding. There's manual assembly, manual welding going on there. Those are mass customized products, but those people who are doing that manufacturing are not designing the product. They are being given the information in the form that they need to do their job efficiently. And we're cutting out the fact that actually to create a custom product, you as the engineer need to be directly involved in that manufacturing. So we're again, this is the advantage of bringing the CAD data all the way through. But the question that we ask then when we look at this, ignoring the 3D printer, we say, where are the robots? Because we know that a lot of products out there are being manufactured using robotic assembly, but actually that's not something that we've ever come across in terms of mass customization. So that was the challenge that we set. Could we assemble a product that's customizable using a standard industrial robot? So what would that involve? So the current process, if you wanted to actually change a robot program, so imagine you have a robotic cell, it can assemble a product. We want to change that product. So what do we have to do? Well, we need to plan what our assembly sequence is for that product. We need to determine what that means in terms of a robot. What are the waypoints? At what point does it open and close an end effector or use additional functions, gluing, welding, so on. And then we need to install that onto the controller of the robot, and we need to set that up for execution as part of our manufacturing process. And so we've had various expert engineers involved in this process. So actually, if we're going to change the configuration, if we're going to change the robot program for each configuration of a product, that's not going to work. So what we want to do is we want to do the first step once. We want to define what are the set of robot actions that are going to take place in order to build our product, but accept the fact that those are parametric. So the positions of things might be different. The number of times we do certain operations might be different. So for example, we might want to, one of our operations might be to drill a hole in something. We might want to do that multiple times in different places. So we can define what that sequence of actions are. And then what we want to do is, for our waypoints, we want to consider those as being positions within 3D CAD, because we know that our 3D CAD model can be parametric. So we can actually make changes and we can then react to where things have moved to. And so then if we can generate our robot program from those changes in the CAD, then actually, if we can then connect directly with the robot, we can send the new robot program to it. So we can define this new process for how we could do it. we wanted to prove that this was possible. We don't have a robot cell sat lying around, but we have friends who do. So this is the Manufacturing Technology Centre here in the UK. They are what's called a catapult. So in the UK, that is a part government funded, part industry funded organisation to really to bring technology, to bridge the gap of technologies between academia and industry. So they're very much doing applied research and helping companies develop new technologies. So we brought the challenge to them. We said, what if we wanted to assemble a customized product? Give us an example of that. And they came up with the idea of a system of plastic pipes where we might want to actually assemble together different configurations of those pipes. As a good example of a real mass customized product. And of course, they provided us a robotic cell with an ABB robot in it. So what we needed to do in order to actually prove this case was we needed a 3D CAD model. So this is a picture of the Onshape model. So what we've done is we've taken models of the product that we're assembling, which is modular. So we've got each of the modules that we can assemble together there. We've got a model of the robot itself. And so that is built correctly with all of the joints of that robot, so we can actually move the robot around within the CAD model. And then we've got a model of the robotic cell. So we've combined all of those CAD models together. So we were helped in doing this by Crusoe Technologies in India. They are a QA partner of PTC's. So I will come on to the idea of make connectors later, but everything in here, you can see a lot of sort of round circles with X, Y, and Z axes on them. Those are, if you don't know Onshape, those are make connectors, and they're a very, very useful feature for this kind of technology. So looking in closer detail, so as I said, we've modeled up each of the components that we can assemble together. We've actually also got the mounts of how they sit within the robotic cell. And we've used make connectors to define where those parts are going to join together. We've also used make connectors to define where the robot gripper is going to grip them. The table in the robot cell is configurable. So we can actually use parameters within the CAD to move components around to different places, which is very important. And then we've put everything there together, and actually we've used another make connector to define what the coordinate system is as far as the robot is concerned. So anyone who's done any offline robot programming will agree that one of the key things is actually getting the coordinate system that the robot knows to match the coordinate system that your product is in. And so again, that's something we've set here using a make connector. So what we've done as a software company, of course, we've developed some prototype software. We've embedded it into the Onshape platform. And so we've defined a series of actions that we want to perform. So we want to move the robot to a given place. We want to open and close the gripper that we've got on it to pick parts up and then go and place them somewhere. And back to the make connectors again. So each of the waypoints that we are actually moving to is based on the location of a make connector. So for example, we're going to pick a given part and we're going to grip it on the gripper make connector that part has. And so now we're in a situation where we've got our complete CAD model, we've got our software in there, and we can change configuration parameters within Onshape, and that will actually move parts around and it will change the configuration that we're going to build. So one part of the software we didn't build is how to actually get that robot program onto the ABB controller. So one thing we were keen to do here is to not mess with the actual controllers on the robot itself. So the closest academic research we'd seen for doing what we're doing here had involved changing the controller that the robot uses. But that was something that we viewed as a risk that a real industrial manufacturer would not want to go through. Firstly, they'd destroy any warranty and insurance they have on that ABB robot if they were to mess with the controller. So instead, what we've done is MTC have developed some tooling that can push new robot programs into the ABB controller. And our software is generating, in this case, ABB Rapid, which is their programming language for robot programming. And so we've ensured that the actual running of that program and also the simulation of that program to ensure that it's valid is all done using ABB's own software. So we're eliminating any risks of driving robots through tables, which is very easily done. So the fun part is we actually get to watch a robot doing it. And so this was an incredibly short project. So we had the robot was assigned to this project for 4 weeks, but actually we only had access to it for testing for 2 weeks. So this is essentially a 2-week project of proving a whole new process, and the result of that is our robot can assemble together our system of pipes correctly, entirely defined by parameters in the CAD. So, as I said, this was in collaboration with the Manufacturing Technology Centre. So their aim, their existence is to de-risk this kind of technology development. And so from their perspective, they've proven that this is possible. And so this is a case study that they show to their members and their customers that to show that this is possible. And so they were very happy that we had proven a new, as they say, industrially relevant solution. So what's the advantage of using Onshape for this? So firstly, the obvious one, Cloud CAD, is collaborative. So those CAD models were made in India. We were working from our office in Leamington, MTC is in Coventry. At no point did anyone need to install any software. At no point did anyone need to send files anywhere. It's all entirely accessed via the browser. We could integrate a custom user interface in there and use the APIs that Onshape gives us in order to fetch the data from it. And very importantly, everything in that model is configurable. So we can change parameters. It will change locations of things, dimensions of components, the number of those components that appear in an assembly. The entire model can be parameterized. And so then when you look at the actual modeling features within the CAD, so the mechanism joints that Onshape has allows us to ensure that we can actually do path planning and reachability analysis with that robot, because we can move the robot in a realistic fashion within CAD. And then the make connectors, which allowed us, just by placing one single make connector in a point, allowed us to define what the transformation was between the CAD coordinate system and the robot coordinate system. So that's a very difficult problem solved in a very simple manner. And then again, the make connectors, as I showed, we used them to say how the parts connect together, how the parts are gripped by a gripper, and where the end effector of the robot is. So actually everything in there is that we're interacting with is defined by the locations of make connectors. I'm just going to show you a quick 1-minute video.
RoboForge makes it easy for robot developers to build URDF robot models within minutes from an Onshape created assembly. RoboForge provides an interface to import the kinematics and physical properties from the Onshape robot's industrial CAD assembly, allowing to modify extrinsic and intrinsic properties of the robot elements and configure simulation properties. Onshape's web-based UI editor enables developers to edit and visualize the robot model. The graphical editor allows visualization of the model as a Ross geometric transform tree. The models are then validated, for example, via kinematic tree validation, and a Ross package can be auto-generated for the composed description files. The generated robot URDF models can be downloaded and used to run in digital twin and simulation environments like AWS IoT TwinMaker and AWS RoboMaker, or uploaded to the developer's S3 bucket or GitHub repository as a Ross package, and directly used with the physical robot visualization and analytics tools.
So that's where we went with that technology. There is now an add-on available via the Onshape App Store called RoboForge, which does not do the offline programming that we've shown as part of this case study, but it does generate all of the robot models that you can then import into robot simulation tools and robot control tools. So it's taken a big step towards being able to not just develop robots within Onshape, so you can use Onshape as an ideal platform for developing new robots, but also to take existing robots and their robotic cells and turn those into simulation models to do further simulation and control work on. So as a whole, what we're doing at CA Tech is we've got a growing tool set for bringing customizable products to market. So designing products if you design a product in Onshape, you can use our configurator platform, which is called Infinitive, to deploy a configurator to your customers so they can make choices. We have the ability to generate manufacturing information from that. And what I've shown in this particular case study is that with the technology we've developed and released as part of RoboForge, we can actually also plan robotic assembly processes and simulate robotics with the goal that we can actually then help you build a product in your factory using robots that somebody chose via our configurator platform. No engineer needing to be in the loop of doing that. So we are obviously looking for manufacturers who'd be interested in bringing such products to market. A little plug here as well. We are also currently raising investment to bring this platform to a wider market. So we're looking for partners, investors, and customers. So I'm going to hand back to Torbjørn now to ask any questions.
Thanks a lot, Peter, for sharing this extremely interesting use case of PTC Onshape. So as you said, now let's open up for any questions you might have. So please raise your hand or put the question in the chat, or let me know if you would like me to ask any questions to Peter here. So let's see what we have. But I think I had 2 questions already here. And the one was about what kind of manufacturing sectors do all these technologies apply to?
So we've applied this in a whole range of things. So furniture is a very good one. Off-site construction, we're seeing a lot of growth in that, and that's not just about entire buildings, but really the subsystems there. So kitchens, staircases, windows, balustrades, all those things need to be configured and made to order. We've got customers in lighting, in modular electronics, and and insoles, and we've even worked in shipbuilding was one of the examples that there was a picture of in this. So it's broad in terms of industry. The key thing is it's any product that is either parametric or modular.
Thanks a lot. What kind of trends do you see in the manufacturing industry?
Yes, so we've got so we're part of a bit of an ecosystem in the UK of small additional manufacturing startups. I was lucky enough to travel to Singapore last week as part of a government-funded mission with about 20 other companies, and so we've really got these growing trends around the use of AI, better uses of additive. I would certainly say something we're seeing in additive is mixing multiple materials and multiple manufacturing techniques there. So that's either mixing additive and subtractive in the same process, or actually building multiple different material types into the same product. On the AI front, I think aside from the hype of ChatGPT and so on, I think there are real moves to optimize. There's been a lot of work in optimizing sort of flow through factories, making use of data that's there being logged in the factory. What's very much of interest to us is how we can use AI to make material usage as efficient as possible. So through we've done work in nesting of parts for maximizing the amount of material that we're using, and also in what we're calling generative modular design. So generative design, but where you are actually picking from a kit of parts to generate that design. So we're not producing strange shaped products that have to be made with additive. It's about using the kit of parts that you've got in the best possible way.
Interesting, thanks. I had another question here as well, and that relates a little bit to your product here. Are there any specific considerations needed when designing a product for mass customization?
Yeah, what we've seen with our we have to acknowledge that each of the companies we've worked with, they're very much designing for this. So if you were to take a product that's designed for mass production, there's certainly some changes you'd need to make to the design. So obviously part of that is making it parametric. So if you're designing a piece of furniture, making the overall assembly so it can change size, but that means making each part parametric so that you can change the dimensions of them. Obviously, a consideration there is what the actual limits are in your manufacturing process. So it's no use being, for example, selling a table of a size that you then find you can't cut that size of product out. But really, there's a lot of things that certainly Onshape is a very good example of a parametric CAD platform that actually allows you to make the product changeable in that way. And then the other thing is if you're not making it parametric, if you're making a product that's modular, you can actually design a lot of products to reuse the same kit of parts as much as possible. And that's really what we're seeing in the big move in the construction industry is this idea of a kit of parts that you can actually make anything from, and that allows you to then have the mass production approach at the component level, but actually you're still selling a mass customizable product because you can build different assemblies from it.
Thank you, Peter. I had one last question here that relates a little bit into some of the return of investments? Do you have any kind of, I mean, numbers that you could share in terms of, I mean, reduced times or, I mean, costs or whatever?
Yeah, so it's difficult to give an overall figure on it because each of the companies we work with are coming from a very different sort of industry. But with the smaller manufacturers we've worked with, it's almost existential. They can't actually grow above a certain amount because their designers need to be in the loop of each sale, each creation of a product. One good statistic we got from a manufacturer of garden rooms was it was costing them £1,000 each time they did a design, which is a fairly large part of actually their cut when they sell one. So by using a sort of configurator type approach, you can eliminate that. And for the larger manufacturers, it's less about the availability of the resource, but it's the cost of communication with a large number of customers where you're trying to give them something different each time. There's a huge customer support cost there, and there's also the worry of your customer making a choice that isn't going to be a valid product, isn't going to be something that actually your manufacturing system can make. So by getting this process right from the customer choice through to the manufacturing process, we can make sure that we reduce those customer support costs, because the manufacturer is confident that the customers are ordering the right thing, and the customer is confident that they're actually going to get something that's going to work.
Yeah, thanks. And unfortunately, that has to be the last word, since I mean time is unfortunately running out. And thanks everyone for joining, and big thanks, I mean, to you for sharing all these kind of information, Peter. And with that, I hope to see you back already next week for a next session on designing the future of personal mobility by Wings EY. So stay tuned for that and have a fantastic weekend, everyone. Take care. See you back. Bye-bye.